At the end of December 2019, 1 month after Andrew's media suicide and his banishment from the royal family, Elizabeth II gave her traditional Christmas speech, broadcast across all the television channels in the kingdom.
Millions of us sat transfixed to our television screens.
During her speech, in which she mentioned the first man on the moon, the Normandy landings and the birth of Jesus Christ, Queen Elizabeth, in one short sentence, alluded to the successive challenges she had faced that year.
Start with small steps. The path, of course, is not always smooth, and may at times this year have felt quite bumpy, but small steps can make a world of difference.
But alas, the Queen had not come to the end of this bumpy path. The drama continued into the new year.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have announced that they are carving out what they call a new role for themselves. In a statement released in the last few minutes, they say they intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent.
The spectacular departure of Harry and Meghan shook the institution of the monarchy to its core. The modernisation Elizabeth II had wanted had proved to be a time bomb. Symptom of a global era dominated by social media, the couple broke the news on their Instagram page. We now plan to balance our time between the United Kingdom and North America. The decision took everyone by surprise. Harry and Meghan didn't wait for a green light or even inform the Queen before their press release.
In any negotiation, you do it behind closed doors. Then we present a united front to the outside world, to the press. Harry and Meghan did the complete opposite. And as an aide said to me, it was as if Harry and Meghan had put a gun to the Queen's head.
Ever since the death of his mother, Diana, Harry had been Elizabeth II's favourite. That made this all the harder to bear.
I was told by a source who knows the Queen that the Queen felt monumentally let down by Harry and Meghan because she had gone out of her way to welcome Meghan, to accommodate the couple and to give them the royal lives that they wanted. I was also told that Harry was behaving, quote, like a bolshy teenager.
On the 13th of January, 5 days after the announcement of his voluntary exile, with Meghan and their son Archie already in Canada, Prince Harry was summoned by his grandmother for a crisis meeting on the Sandringham estate.
The Queen called a family meeting to decide Harry's future. Harry, who is adorable but not very bright, didn't realize he had fallen into a trap because he was in a minority. He faced a united front: the Queen, Prince Charles, Prince William, the lady-in-waiting and 3 private secretaries. And he didn't have Meghan by his side. So the Queen was completely in charge of the situation. Harry had been ambushed.
Behind the 100-year-old walls of Sandringham House, Harry pleaded his case. Duke of Sussex had hoped to retain his royal title and to carry on representing the Queen from America, which would have guaranteed him considerable clout for his various charitable projects. Fat chance.
You can leave the royal family, but you've got to leave the royal family with nothing. You can't expect to be going over to the other side of the Atlantic and use all the trappings of the royal family to become financially independent. That's not how the royal family works. You cannot be half in, half out. You're either in or you're out, but you cannot be both. And she was adamant about that. It was a tough stance, and it would have been difficult for her to take that stance with her grandson. But it was his decision to go, and therefore he had to suffer the consequences.
Worried about her ageing husband, destabilised by the storm Boris Johnson had whipped up, Bruised by her son's behaviour and abandoned by her grandson, Elizabeth II was having to roll with the punches. At the start of 2020, a recurring rumour had reared its ugly head, as it had every time the monarchy had foundered during the past 12 months. It was doing the rounds of so-called well-informed circles and pubs. Would the Queen, inevitably shaken, weakened and weary, give up the throne? Anyone doubting Elizabeth II's obstinacy would have to rewrite the monarch's biography.
There is a motto which has been borne by many of my ancestors: I serve. I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
She committed herself in 1947. She committed herself in 1953 at the coronation. She's a very religious person. She's Supreme Governor of the Church of England, the ceremonial head. She committed herself to God all the days of her life, which means until she draws her last breath.
The last thing that she would do would be to abdicate. She will either die in the job, or if she becomes incapable, there will be a regency until the point that she dies.
As the nights draw in, Elizabeth II is reminded of the words she uttered over 70 years ago: I will serve. During her long reign as Queen, many have wanted to make the decision on her behalf. No one has ever managed it, and they won't start now. Boris Johnson, Andrew, Harry, all these men have passed through with their blinkered pride. Meanwhile, she has remained. Will she abdicate? Never.
New Guard will advance! By the right, slow! March!
So, what next? How to follow a living legend, this woman who has defied history.
New Guard, order! March! New Guard, stand at feet!
Charles first, then William, and then one day young George will have to take up this seemingly impossible gauntlet. May God grant them strength. God save the Queen.